There are a number of Pittsburgh Steelers players playing for their futures, not only with the Steelers, but also in the NFL. Hello, Steeler Nation, and welcome to the latest episode of your Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. With me, your host, Pittsburgh Owen, speaking to you here in the very cold, wintry UK. Guys, if you've just found the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate, if you are a die-hard black and gold fan, then hit that sub, ring that notification bell, and come and join the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate, your fan channel, your channel that brings you daily news, views, podcasts, live streams, all on your favorite team. And myself and Mark are genuine Steelers fans with over 50 years of supporting our black and gold heroes. So hit that sub, guys, so you do not miss out. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers obviously have 4 games left. And realistically, I know mathematically they're not out of the playoffs, but realistically, they are. Realistically, I can't see the Steelers qualifying for the playoffs at the season's end. And realistically, they aren't a team that are going to really compete with the likes of the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Bengals, who I think are the elite teams in the AFC this year. So this season, I think, turns into 4 prove-it games left for the Steelers, 4 job interviews, 4 opportunities for players up against it, 4 opportunities for players who are on notice to prove themselves worthy of a new contract or a new deal to really step it up. You know, the number of Pittsburgh Steelers who are out of contract at the end of this season and able to enter free agency is alarming. There is a big, big number of players and some players in some key positions. Obviously, the biggest one that a lot of the Steeler fans will talk about this summer is Devin Bush. Bush, who didn't have his 5th-year option taken up by the Pittsburgh Steelers, is out of contract and able to test the free agent waters at the end of this season. Many believe that he has not done anything this season for the Steelers to prove that he is worthy of a new contract. His play has not included a great deal of splash plays. Yes, he's been there to tackle, but at times he hasn't really shown himself up. He hasn't raced to the ball. He hasn't had any interceptions or sacks or forced fumbles. He hasn't really supported the run defense in recent weeks. He's been part of the problem. And I don't think he has done anything in order to really stand out from the crowd and be that person who proves to the Steelers that he is worth a new long-term deal. Like I said, no splash. You go and look at his statistics, there is literally no splash plays on those statistics. Therefore, I think probably ruling him out of getting a new contract. The list of Steelers who are out of contract in the summer is obviously includes the likes of Terrell Edmunds, DeMonte KZ, Mason Rudolph, Benny Snell, a number of players whose futures are definitely up for question. Whilst I think that Edmonds and Kazee could well be retained and are worthy of being retained given how well they've played this season, particularly Terrell Edmonds, who I think has had a very good year for the Steelers, particularly when Minkah Fitzpatrick has been out. He has stepped up and filled that void of leadership in the secondary. And KZ, who has, since he's come back from injury, has certainly proved himself worthy of a roster spot. However, I think the likes, obviously, of Mason Rudolph may well will move on. I can't see him wanting to stay with the Steelers, as he has hinted this week with the comments that he has made about the fact that he hasn't felt like a 2A and he's been inactive, and the fact that he loves his teammates but not the team. Paraphrasing what he said. I mean, if you look at the list of free agents that the Steelers have this coming summer, you've got, obviously, topping that list is DeMonte KZ, who I think is worthy of a new contract and has played exceptionally well this year. Trenton Scott, who has not played at all, and someone I definitely don't think is worth keeping on the roster. Then after that, you have the likes of Miles Boykin, who I think is worthy of a new contract. He plays well on special teams. He's a good backup receiver, and I think he's certainly someone who you could get quite cheaply. Carl Joseph has been out injured and really hasn't played a part at all for the Steelers. So I think Joseph will be moving on at the end of this season. Jameer Jones, the outside linebacker, who I think the Steelers have made a mistake in bringing back over Derek Tushka. Tushka, I think, was starting to prove himself, and I don't think Jameer Jones has done anything this season to prove himself worthy of a roster spot. Benny Snell Jr., well, at season start, I was a huge Benny Snell critic. I didn't really rate Benny Snell at all. But Benny Snell has come in and he's certainly proved himself in recent weeks and decided to be a running back as well as a special teams player. So I think Snell could well be brought back on another 1-year contract. Also, JC Hassenauer, who I think it's time to move on from. He's looked weak when he's come in relief of Mason Cole. I do not think he is worth a new contract at all. Also on that list is James Pierre, who I think James Pierre has done very well this season when he's come in and played cornerback. Certainly a good backup cornerback. So I would definitely retain his services. Zach Gentry. Zach Gentry may be retained, but at the same time may not be retained, given the fact that Connor Haywood is stepping up and really showing himself to be a top tight end. Larry Ogunjobi, another one who is out of contract, signed a 1-year contract. Now, Ogunjobi has had some good games, but also has not really had a great deal of splash this season. In addition to that, he spends an awful lot of time injured and misses an awful lot of practices. This may well put the Steelers off giving him a new contract. Mason Rudolph is out of contract, and like I said earlier, I do not think this guy will re-sign in the city of Pittsburgh. Derek Watt is also out of contract. Is he worth a new deal? Is he someone you'd want to retain? I think not. Cam Sutton, I think, has had a very good season and will be a good cornerback 2 on the opposite side to a good cornerback 1. So Cam Sutton is definitely worth a new contract for me. Also on that list, other players that I would retain, like I said, Terrell Edmonds, I would definitely give a new contract to. But the others, I think they were very doubtful on there as to who you want to retain. Spillane, I would not want to retain at all. Malik Reed, Chris Wormley, Tyson Alualu is getting old. I just don't think that the rest of them are really worth a new contract. Marcus Allen contributes very little. Yes, he does okay on special teams and he can dance. But other than that, he doesn't really do a lot. And the fact that he danced in a point where we were getting slaughtered, I think it was by the Bengals, really did make me feel sick. So I think it's time he was moved on from. So as you can see from this list, the Pittsburgh Steelers will have a lot of development and a lot of building to do over the offseason and a lot of players to consider the futures of coming into a new 2023 season if they're going to build a roster ready to compete with the very best in the AFC North. Anyway, Steeler Nation, thank you for watching Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Let me know in the comments below, who would you like to keep hold of? And who would you like to see the Steelers re-sign? And who's got a lot to prove in these last 4 games of the season? Thank you for watching the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. I've been your host, Pittsburgh Owen. Remember to hit that like and hit that sub. Thanks for watching. Here we go, Steelers. Come on!